Hello, good afternoon and welcome back to Kingsholm Stadium for the second fixture of today. It is the Royal Air Force men up against the British Army men. Now, of course, this trophy has already been decided. The Royal Navy men dramatically being crowned back-to-back champions at Twickenham 2 weeks ago. So let's take a look back and see what's happened in the tournament so far.
It's a big moment for all concerned as they get set for this starting game. And he's through. There's the release, and Ben Chambers is going to go in for another try here at Franklin's Gardens. Llewellyn thinks of the sidestep, knocks off one and goes over. And as last year, it's the RAF who get the first try of the second half. And how important could that 5-pointer be? And they thought of a sidestep from Mills, but it's back there again to Edson. And is he over? I think it is. It's George Edson. And that is game, set and match. Seat to the senior service. What a start this is going to be. Will Rigglesford. Step, gone, and got the Navy on the board. Gets the call inside, and here comes the senior service. Freddie Elliott start from the Royal Navy.
Oh, away
Great
we go.
take from Dawson, and the feed is out there. And Garawali going for gold. Well, going for the line, and the finish is there. Working their way up over the line, and the try's given. The Royal Navy who win the Babcock Trophy for the Army-Navy game.
Of course, there's still plenty of pride attached to this fixture. Yesterday, I went to the captain's run and I spoke to both head coaches. It seems a while, isn't it, since Northampton? How have you sort of kept the momentum going into this final game?
Yeah, tough one really. I think that if the boys could have played again the next day, they would have. So it was a lot of phone calls, a lot of messaging to try and keep the boys focused, because we obviously go back to work for 2 weeks, and then that's where the feeling of that loss that really hurt myself and hurt the group of players sort of sits with them. So that emotional response that I had in day one was really, really good. Yeah, I think the Army, and fair play to the Navy, I think that's a massive important thing to say. Good to go back to back, and for Priddy to lead that group together back to back win. And I think it was 50 years or 70 years or something like that.
74, yeah.
74, so I think that's pretty cool for him and his group, and I'm sure they celebrated it for a good few days after I heard Cardiff and Bristol were explored. But in all fairness, they deserved it. At the end of the day, they put the scores on the board and they won the game. I think the Army, the first try for the Navy against the Army, that was probably against a run of play, because it was within 30 seconds of the game, and that's a bit of a Mike Tyson punch in the face. And how the Army reacted, and ultimately I think it was 70-0 down at one point. So I think the Army, a very experienced team and a good team that can go through adversity and come back, and actually it was 36-all at one point. So the Army have got the experience, and they've been to these places before, they've reacted from losses before, and they've been on the momentum of the winning side before. There's nothing changes for us, because at the moment we haven't won, and it serves us for 8 years.
Yeah, that's one of the tricky things. You're clearly very disappointed in terms of not getting the result we're after. But on the flip side of that, there were so many things we did well, and a lot of the work we've done this season was a really good benefit, and the boys delivered. That set piece was very good. Areas of the game we've been working hard on delivered, so you didn't quite get the tangible result you were after necessarily, even though elements of the performance were very good. Yeah, the Navy, we've always said it, I know we're a very good side, and with the discipline and the pressure they gave us, certainly in the first 20 minutes, and those last 10 minutes when we couldn't get the ball off them was the deciding factor. So 6 tries each, a great game, 50-odd thousand there, brilliant game of rugby. We're just on the wrong side of the result this time. So it is what it is. So. Yeah, a couple of niggles. Rocco hurt his shoulder a little bit. He's been carrying something there, and he's carried that through from his club stuff last week, unfortunately. So he comes out, and we've got a couple of tweaks around to the rest of the squad as a result of that. So yeah, Elliot Berryman is also deployed with work in Germany. So he's come out, and Sean Beaver's come straight back in, which is a great asset to be able to take somebody his pedigree back off the non-playing group last week, straight into the squad this week.
So here we are, the final act about to be played out at this wonderful ground, and I say that as a Bath rugby fan. So let's go up to the commentary gantry, led today by Simon Ward. He's joined by Will Reeve and John Wilding.
Thank you, Kath. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Kingsholm here in the southwest of the country. Two teams walking out now knowing that pride is everything. The disappointment of losing to the Navy in the last month for both teams now has to be used positively, and it could well dictate the whole feel to their rugby season. A big moment, a big crowd here as well. Good following, I'm told it likely to be between 7,000 and 8,000 here. So hopefully we shall see plenty of fans and hear plenty of fans as well. It certainly has proved to be a very popular location in the last 2-3 seasons. I think it's been here at Gloucester. Ostensibly, of course, an RAF home game, but as ever now with the inter-services, it's kind of a neutral fixture for all teams in all games. Now we'll have the presentation party in just a moment, but before we do that, we are going to have a moment of reflection for Lieutenant Colonel Al Tinddale, MBE, true stalwart of Army Rugby and a giant of the military rugby community.
He was a passionate advocate for Army Rugby, a valued colleague within Army sports, and a source of guidance, humour and inspiration to countless players, officials and supporters. Al was also well known to many of you through his band, Tinddale, who brought such energy and spirit to last year's match day, a reflection of his love for rugby, music and community. With the blessing of his family and alongside friends, teammates and colleagues gathered here today, we honour Al's remarkable contribution and remember a man who gave so much to our game. As Al's image is shown in recognition of his life, his service and his enduring legacy, we ask you to please join us in a minute's applause and as indicated by the referee's whistle.
So now the teams and match officials will be introduced to the presentation party. So Air Chief Marshal Sir Harv Smith, KCB OBE, President of the Royal Air Force Rugby Union, Major General John Swift OBE, the Assistant Chief of the General Staff and ARU Vice President, and Mr Tom Moulton, the Managing Director of UK Aviation at Babcock. Along with them, Brigadier James Cook OBE, the Chair of the Army Rugby Union, and Air Vice Marshal Paul Rose, Chair of the RAF Rugby Union. Match officials there, Lieutenant Colonel Tom Evans-Jones from the Royal Marines, Lieutenant Commander Simon Priestley from the Royal Navy, and from the police, Kevin Lewis. So all getting ready for the big occasion. We've got the band of the RAF regiment giving us some background music while the squeezing of the flesh goes on, and then of course we will have the national anthem before play can proceed. So formalities are done. Let's take a look at the two lineups before we get to kick-off. For the RAF, 5 changes, 1 positional from that game at Northampton. So Callum Clode comes into midfield. Freddie Richardson and Jacob Seddon, the wingers this time. Craig Irwin gets a start in the front row. And as we've mentioned, Josh McNally back in the RAF ranks for this one in the engine room. For the Army, well, they're able to keep pretty much the same team. Tomasi Vula comes onto the wing. That's the only change in that back line. And Shane Beaver comes in for Elliot Berryman in the second row. That apart, it's the same 15 that started a fortnight ago at Twickenham. So the teams set up for this 98th clash between the two services. The Army with the lion's share of that, 62 wins in the locker already. RAF 26 times victorious with 9 draws. Who is going to be smiling come the end of 80 minutes now? The last game in this year's Inter-Services Rugby Championship is underway. Interesting to see how quickly the ball is moved from the focus, from the breakdowns tactically, how quickly both sides want to get out onto the edges. The kick there from McDonald. Safe take. Going to allow Sam Boxall to feed on. There's Mark Williams, the captain. McNally getting his mitts on the ball early doors in midfield. Callum Clode in the black scrum cap. Williams working a position on this right-hand side for Freddie Richardson. Not quite working out, and we will go back for an earlier call. Delighted to be joined this afternoon by John Wilding in the light blue corner and Major Will Reeves in the red corner. John, we talked earlier on the reaction that both sides are going to have to this. It is about speed out the blocks this afternoon, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's something that I think is critical to the outcome of the game, is who establishes what they've worked on since the Navy game and where they can get that advantage in pressure, but also on the scoreboard.
Well, good afternoon. The Army are still rankling from Twickenham a fortnight ago, especially when you think 2 years before that they did the same to the Navy. What sort of reaction are you expecting from the men in red?
Yeah, good afternoon, Simon. Thank you. I think, like you've said, there's 13 of the 15 that started. We recognised 2 weeks ago they didn't start the game how they would have wanted, down 12-0 very early. So hopefully a bit of composure, hopefully a little bit more playing in the right areas. You saw Mikey McDonald go straight to that box kick. So a little bit of that, a little bit of calmness, and then just get into the game and then play their rugby.
Yeah, composure on both sides going to be absolutely critical while the adrenaline is still pumping.
Yeah, and I think the big thing for both teams were against the Navy was the amount of execution errors for both teams, because they had chances to score tries against the Navy. There was execution that let them down.
Well, they've got a chance to execute here for the first time inside the Army 22. James Roberts pushing a little further forward. Now the halfback's trying to contrive, working. Sense of relief, I suspect, with that play not playing out as they'd hoped, but the penalty is there.
So already 3 minutes in, the RAF have sort of kicked off, managed to get the ball back and held onto the ball, worked 2 penalties. They had a line out that went for a good driving maul. It's too easy to say that's the influence of Josh, but there would have been a bit more sensible sort of option taking by the RAF when they're in the red zone of the Army. Well, the influence of Josh was there for all to see, because he called up the captain and said, we're going for points. And points on the board gives you confidence. As I say, in service rugby, you take your points when you can is a good mantra to live by.
Simple start for Mark Williams as he slams it through to get the scoreboard operator into business.
It's probably worth saying that the flags look like the RAF have the wind behind them. However, stood up here in this country, the wind's blowing on my right side of my face, so
that's something to
do
with Will, but yeah. Right, so the RAF with points on the board. Army won't be perturbed, of course they won't, but they will know that they need to get back into the right areas of the pitch as quickly as possible. Memories of Twickenham when the Navy scored so many points inside that first quarter. Indeed, the Army won the next 3 quarters, but having started at 19-0 down, it was never going to be an easy recovery.
I think it's interesting on that kick there from the RAF that the Army had 4 people in the backfield, and it's obviously that they recognise the RAF like to kick out from their 22. They're putting 4 people back. The risk with that is if you've got 4 people back, there's, if I do my maths right, there's only 11 left in the actual line. And
did you actually play in the second row?
Bit of public maths. So, I'm brave. But there's space out there, so it's that game of when do we do it? The RAF have got to take advantage of that if they can.
Yeah, good call. Right, first scrum put in, and the first scrum call goes against those in red. Tom Evans-Jones immediately making that call. He was on the whistle in this one 2 years ago, on the line indeed last year. But it's again, and I'll refer to your knowledge of the tight 5, John, but we saw in Northampton, we saw at Twickenham, the Navy tight 5 made such a difference on the setup of the game, and well, the RAF have got first dibs.
Yeah, the Navy tight 5, they were probably the point of difference for the whole inter-services, that unit. And if you win your scrums and line-outs, you've got a good chance of getting the result you want. We just got to do it in the line-out now.
Line-out working to plan.
And another point to note there is that line-out operated without Josh McNally in it.
Yeah. Huge miss pass trying to get Jacob Seddon into the attack as well. Llewellyn, captain of the 23s, of course, this year, that won the inter-services. Now here come the Army. Tomasi Bulla takes them up to halfway. Drew Davison. Army trying to stretch out to the left. Jack Johnson and Frank Kelly getting width on the ball. Nyalo gets the feed out to Gorawale, and Gorawale, well, everybody trying to keep it live for the first time in this game. Nearly 8 minutes in, the Army are in the opposition 22.
That's how they're going to want to play, isn't it? Go from one side of the field to the other, get people like Shane and Imi in on the ball, sucking in those defenders, just keeping it alive, and you can see straight away there is no intention to go to ground there. Keep that ball flowing, keep that blue defence retreating. If you run out of touch 10 metres off the try line, probably not a bad thing. Force the RAF exit and play again.
Absolutely, it's what you would have got from a kick anyway. It was attacking from turnover ball just outside your 22, and that's what the British Army will do all day long if you allow them to.
Especially when you've got the likes of Senatike Nyalo hanging wide. He's so strong on the ball that he can go into a corridor like that and still provide possession at the end of it. That's good clearance from Sam Boxall.
That is a great clearance, and again, that's just a little take the safe exit, get yourself up the pitch, look to attack again. But the Army will fancy this attacking position just in the RAF half, bit of width.
Yeah, they'll be hoping for better success from the line-outs than they had last year. I was watching back during the week, and it was a real problem in that first half. They're going to throw long to Frank Kelly on the gallop. Different option working perfectly there for the Army. I'm sure Stu Sylvester and co will be very happy to see that very accurate dart from the captain. Davison McDonald. There's Kelly again. Austin sets up. The drive coming in from Douglas McGregor-Smith. Again, the Army getting good width. So Jack Johnson with the kick. To see the wind taking a little bit, but didn't disturb Kieran Prescott. Is it being turned over? No, not releasing in the contact. And a moment of relief for the RAF.
I think that's a harsh call there, personally.
I can't see exactly what's going on, but the Army have done the right thing. Not overplaying. Jack Johnson says, let's calm down, we're not going anywhere. Go to the sky. I don't know if he's going to be best pleased with that kick. I think he put a little bit too much on it. Let Kieran Prescott get that catch on the full, but here we go. Jack Johnson sends it again. Much better kick this time.
Great kick from the Army 10. I think both 10s having to work out what the breeze is doing. If anything, it's slightly behind the RAF backs in this first half. But noticeable at pitch level that there wasn't too much impact, you would have thought.
Well, the linesman's flag's not flying.
No, I'm just looking up behind that that stand to our left, and there's a slight flutter on the flag there. That's, I think, the only flag that's got any movement in it.
And it tends to come in through these corners, Simon. So you kick the ball, certainly up posts on this right-hand side, and it doesn't touch it until it's midway through its flight and then just rips it across.
And McDonald unable to take that cleanly. I think there's an advantage call going. Nayalo. Ferretti just gets upended short of the 22. Kelly tries to put the little dab through. There was a knock forward anyway from a RAF hand, so it's play on for those in red. Tangutu can't get through. They will go back, I think, for that knock on. Well, getting the cohesion in the Army ranks, if not making too much advance, should we say.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really nice to see Frank Kelly and George Tagutu getting their hands free in that midfield, trying to connect, and like I said earlier, just keeping that ball alive, keeping that blue line retreating. You know, Frank has only been brought into the squad a little bit later on this season with injuries to Levi Roper and various other bits, so nice to see that centre pairing. Hopefully had a bit of preparation together this week to really nail that down.
And it was very evident from the Twickenham first half an hour or so. There was a bit of a disconnect in midfield, both in defence and with the ball. It took a while for them to find their cohesion at 12 and 13. You can come back now, Mr. Boxall.
Yeah, every scrum half will do that all day long. It's just scrum's really interesting at the moment because I'm not really sure who has dominance here. It's a bit early on, and the referee set out stall with an early penalty call. But there seems to be a lot of pressure on the RAF loose head and the Army tight head. And that battle seems to be the one that's deciding where we go now.
Craig Irwin getting the start in that light blue number 1 shirt with Matt Harris on the bench to start things. But both will have a big challenge, should we say, with the likes of Siti Venivasa on the other side. He just locks that down. Secure?
Yeah, but I think that's creaking by the RAF there.
Here we go, opening for the Army, and the first 5-pointer is on the board. It's Tomasi Vula. He scored at Twickenham, now he scored at Kingsholm. And with just under 13 minutes on the clock, the Army have a 5-pointer.
Oh, we spoke about cohesion, didn't we? It didn't come from the centre pairing, but it's come from the Fijian flair. Getting out loads of space there. You can see the Army just wanting to give those boys space to attack. Tagutu manages to get on the outside of his man and just put Tomasi in as that wing has got a bit of doubt in his mind. And like you say, he now notches up his second inter-service try. That'll be a real settler for the boys as Jack Johnson tees it up to try and put it 7-3 ahead.
from the RAF, they'll be disappointed with first phase attack of defence. I mean, it's hard to defend a scrum in the middle of the pitch, but they made that, they solved their position too easy, I think, out wide. They'd like to have that back again. Well taken try.
Jack Johnson with his first opportunity. Slides it through for the maximum return, and a good start for the Army inside the first quarter of an hour to get the first try on the board.
Quite an interesting story of the weekend. All 3 games have been really balanced. So the Masters last night were 8-5 down at half-time, but then ran away with it in the second half, notching up a big win, 38-13. Women did something similar early this morning, so I wonder if it'll be 3 times a charm.
Yeah, the triple is on for the Army today, but the hands of Shane Nyalo not doing them any favours there.
I respect that, but let's hope not, eh? But in all seriousness, the Army are showing their strength and depth in all 3 teams, and this is that kick-off catch dropped is an unforced error that I'm pretty sure if, the Army coaching team would be disappointed, as will the team, because you're just giving the RAF a chance to get back in the half and get some belief and get some points. Just put pressure on them again. It's that sort of inaccuracy that was evident against the Navy that I think cost them in the Navy game. Great scrum.
Look at that scrum from the Army. Well, calling out, I think it was McGregor Smith calling out for driving off the straight. We've got Kevin Lewis, I think, on this side from the police making that call.
So I think he was coming to Vasan Tarango coming in an angle. That is quite hard to pick when does a loose head push him in or does the tight head already go in. That'll be an age-old debate in scrummaging circles, but the scrum definitely, the RF scrum definitely under pressure.
Safe take from Alex Hayden, and the drive comes on from the RAF pack. Army holding it stationary for now, so Roberts has to release. O'Regan wearing 12 this afternoon. What was that? Outside centre up at Franklin's Gardens. The forwards coming round. Boxall having to do the dog to get that ball back. I think there's going to be a yellow card here. Yeah, Matt Dawson is going to be sitting out the next 10. Slowing the ball down inside the 22 to the referee's displeasure. So the Army down to 14.
Well, as an RAF supporter, that's a good sight. But I tell you, if that was an RAF player for that, I'm not sure I'd be that happy. However, it is what it is, and I actually thought that the Army defended that attack quite well off the line out, and the RAF didn't make gain line. We're going sideways, but now's a great opportunity.
Great opportunity for those in light blue as James Roberts confers with his front row mate to make sure the call is there. Hayton as ever the target. They look at the short side. They're up. Just held short. Who's going to go for this? All the adrenaline now inside numbers 1 to 8. They drive again and they're over. It's one for the RAF forwards. Celebration is there. I've got a feeling it was Craig Irwin. I'm going to give it to the loose head until I see otherwise.
Yeah, I think it was Craig. That's a great drive from short range out. You kind of expect props to do that, but it's always hard work from there. And it's a great bit of line out trickery to throw the ball wrap around the front. Everyone thinks it's going to be a drive straight down the middle. They almost scored from that. Kept their patience. That's the difference between what's happening today and what happened against the Navy. A bit of patience, bit of composure. Don't try and play catch up rugby too early. And they've got a good score.
Mark Williams with the chance to add the extras. Not quite he was immaculate off the tee last year. I seem to remember 5 out of 5 from the RAF captain, but unable to add the extras. Well, we have our social secretary with us, Mr. John Knighton, as ever, on standby for his last inter-services rugby match. I can't believe that.
I know, it's a difficult one for me.
When did you start? Last century sometime, wasn't it?
Yeah, okay, you're not much younger than me.
I'll make the most of it, though.
Yeah, thanks all of you getting in touch. We've got a few messages coming through. Little message actually from the RAF kicker Mark Williams from his sister Kate, who's watching. So good luck to you this afternoon. Hope he scores a try. Well, he certainly kicked a penalty earlier on. And thanks to all of you getting in touch. There's a lot of messages actually about the game, commenting about how the game is going. Gareth Thomas is watching. Paula Bennett-Smith is watching. Good afternoon to you, Paula. And RAF playing with 16, says Kenny Everett. Well, I'm not quite sure about that. But anyway, keep those messages coming through wherever you're watching today. We'd love to hear from you.
Oh, now that was what you call a big hit. Varemi and Gurawali sat his man down, and he's now counting his ribs to check they're all there. Great hit from the Army left winger. Nyalo waits, gets Matt Blees out there, but he's going to feed it back to Ngurawale. And here come the Army. Nyalo, the ball is there. Can anybody stop? Oh, I think he was turned turtle. Penaya Tangutu thought he got over the line, but I think that Kieran Prescott just managed to keep him on his back. Thoughts?
Wow. We've spoke about that connection, haven't we? We focus on that centre pairing, but here it is again. Imi, Shane, Tagutu. It's that Fijian connection, keeping the ball alive.
On this left corridor again.
On this left-hand side, yeah, all the way down that touchline. If you kick to Shane and Imi, you better have a good kick chase, and that is why. And like you say, Kieran Prescott gets absolutely melted, and then 10 seconds later makes a try-saving tackle. So a bit of a moment for him on both sides.
That's the game in a nutshell there. The counter-attacking flair down this 5-metre channel was outstanding, and the RAF desire to get there and hold up over the line was outstanding.
Well, they're trying to hold up Frank Kelly and co at the moment as the Army come back towards the 22. Vasataranga made a big impact at Twickenham, of course got over the whitewash then. Here's another one, Beaver's driving! The Zimbabwean in the right place at the right time with the right finish, and the Army get themselves back in front.
The tails are up. Well done, boys, just moving it through the phases. Frank Kelly adds some pace. Ball gets moved, and Sean Beaver just finds that hole and just does the rest with his legs. I did think he'd butchered it when he didn't give it to Mikey McDonald on the inside, but he's got the strength to get over. So, yeah, absolutely. Bit of breathing space now, and we'll go back to that composure that we talked about earlier.
Always back the second row, mate.
Always back the second row. That's it. Just keep those legs pumping.
That was a great line from him, to be fair. That as a defensive line, that was a great line. And I think he finished it well, but he's safe. He didn't score. I think the scrum half will have words with him.
And that, of course, with a man in the sin bin as well. Looks like Tangutu took a knock there in that earlier place. Jack Johnson is able to add the extras once again. So the maximum return from those 2 tries for the British Army. And they've got their noses back in front.
So 2 times into the 22, 2 tries, and that's where the clinicalness of the Army. You've got to keep on in their faces and close the space down for the full 80 minutes. You can't relax.
And the use of Frank Kelly in that midfield. What is he? 6'5". He has that physical presence. There he is again. That runners can use, and here they go as Nyolo takes them back up to halfway. McDonald spins out of one tackle and immediately tries to get width. Blee has 2 men outside him. Tangutu trying to just work the space on that right hand side to Masivula, holding his width. And the Army, you sense, if they get another score here, they really are going to have enjoyed this dominant spell, albeit with Matt Dawson watching on from the side. Kelly straightens things up. The line to his support was cut off, but still the Army go. McDonald out to try score a beaver. Presentation is good, or is it? The RAF boys trying to make a mess of it, but it's still there for the Army number 9. There's the Army captain. No thought of a sidestep from Pete Austin on this occasion, but sets the ball back. Off goes Vasaturanga. It's about this distance he scored at HQ a fortnight ago. Mayalo in at first receiver, setting it ball back. Presentation a bit quicker, but McDonald not making the most of it on that occasion. McGregor Smith earning his 4th cap this afternoon. McDonald looks like he's hurt himself a bit here, just hanging off the breakdown advantage for the Army. Battling their way for these last 2 or 3 metres to try and make a difference on the scoreboard. Big sweep round to the right hand side, but they don't need it. They've got that 3rd try, and all that huff and puff, in the end it's Veretti who finishes it off, and that is a very dominant spell from the British Army, especially with Matt Dawson in the sin bin.
Well, yeah, we spoke earlier about those getting that platform from your tight 5, and when you can rely on the boys up front to just grind it out, build that pressure, build those phases, it's a pretty easy way to attack. And you can see, like you say, Mikey McDonald, Jack Johnson just hanging off that ruck, watching it unfold. They were trying to pull the trigger. There was lots of space open on that right hand side, but you know, Cody Veretti getting over for another 5-pointer.
Jack Johnson just with a bit of attention means that Matt Blee will maybe temporarily take over kicking duties, no problem there. Well, the curse of Kath Brazier wasn't quite in place, but it's not far off. She's down with the RAF gang. Kath?
Tom Gardner, I was going to come over and say a brilliant start, because you did make a brilliant start, and now they've just scored 2 more tries. Comments at this point?
I think it's pretty simple, really. We've got 3 failed exits and 2 tries to them. So it's just us executing our exits correctly, and this wouldn't be happening. So it is frustrating, but 3 failed exits, 2 scores, and now we've kicked out on the full offer kick-off. So it's as simple as that. It's the kicking game that's ruining us. When we got the ball in hand, we're looking quite threatening.
Can they sort of repair that in this first half? What are you saying to your team?
Absolutely. We just said just keep our connections, get more efficient with what ball we do have, and that's the messages really. Get our connections and be more efficient with the ball that we do have. At the moment, we're giving away soft possession turnovers. Case in point, that kick-off, we wanted to go long left and we kicked out on the full, and we're now defending scrum with our blind side exposed.
Such a tight finish last year. Can you see the same thing happening?
I don't want to, but no, in all fairness, yeah, of course I can. At the end of the day, we want to play positive rugby, the Army want to play positive rugby, and with that comes scores, doesn't it? So hopefully we're the right side of the score at the end of the full 80.
Well done. Thank you, Tom. You're a gem.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you, Kath. Yeah, unforced errors effectively shooting the RAF in the foot.
Yeah, sadly, it's a similar story from the Navy game. And I think that the ambition to play and stretch just needs to be tempered a little bit. Sometimes it's okay to play the percentages, but yeah, unforced errors is killing them at the moment.
Well, the unforced error there, almost in midfield, but the referee making that call, and McDonald seemingly fit again, but not taking it from the right place. They'll be used to the officiating of Tom Evans-Jones, Tej as he was called yesterday. I don't know whether that's a regular nickname for him. Inevitable, I suppose.
Yeah. Or sir. Depends where
you
are, isn't it?
Yeah. Depends whether you're a forward or a back, I would suggest. Right, now McDonald taking the kicks and not finding touch. And I'm just looking to see, there's Jack Johnson. He's got that right knee, that right thigh strapped. I'm wondering whether it's
a dangerous kick,
precluding him from kicking. We shall see now as Tomasivula again gets his team up onto the front foot. Crash ball, Charlie, is Naiolo. Again, the advantage
penalty
is there.
Well, one of the obvious differences here is that post-contact meters the Army are getting after every carry. The RAF are not getting anywhere near them in defence in terms of putting them back or stopping them. And when they get the chance to run with it, they're not making post-contact meters.
And the hands of Kelly once again opening the door, this time for Ngorawale. There's Veretti, lovely offload to his skipper. And you can just see the Army rhythm now in a good place. Veretti, Blee, keeping that ball alive inside the opposition 22. Dawson back on the park. Should have plenty of energy now for the last 10 minutes or so of this first half.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit scrappy for the RAF, especially around the defensive set of the breakdown. There's a little snipe there that shouldn't have been by the Army, that shouldn't have been able to get there, and that just puts the whole defensive effort on the back foot. And as I say, worryingly now the RAF are losing their line speed, and certainly the hits are coming in, but they're not stopping the Army on the game line.
Veretti down in back play, but I don't think play is going to stop. And again, it's McDonald taking the kicks, which would once again seem to give you the sense that Jack Johnson is not totally fit right now. What do you think? Well,
he has nursed that right thigh on his kicking leg for a while. A couple of years ago, even when him and I were playing together, he asked me to kick on his behalf, and then when the ball came to him, he just decided to kick it back. Perhaps adrenaline took over, I don't know, but he'll be there to steady the ship. You know, it's not just a kicking game that he's on the pitch for. He's a good organiser, he's a good passer of the ball, he makes good decisions. You know, so whilst we can enjoy having depth in the squad from Mikey and Matt Blee to kick in other areas of the game, Jack Johnson will be able to organise, you know, without that kicking game.
And he's an important character in the group, vice captain, I think, isn't he, for this one? So important to keep him on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly that. And you know, you don't want to make changes after half an hour, especially in such an important role. You know, and you look at the bench that the Army's got, no obvious second choice fly half. So in the three backs today, Jesse,
it would be Ribeiro or Blee who are sort of half back
so
covers.
There's a few options that, you know, Matt Blee could move up, Jesse could come into the back, but really exciting substitutes in, you know, in the 22 and 23 shirt. Luke Rockamothe, who's obviously playing week in, week out up in Nottingham, and T playing at Cambridge. You know, if you want to talk about Fijian flair, you bring those guys on and see how you can defend that.
Well, it's the RAF defending this attacking line out now. 10 metres out, but it doesn't go right, and it's the RAF able to escape thanks to Connor Morris's efforts. Roberts, no way through. Naiolo, but the ball's still there for the light blues. Looks like there's a bit more rain in the air. Certainly that was the forecast, that we were going to get doused fairly heavily through this afternoon. Of course, playing on a 4G surface maybe hasn't got as much impact as it would do on natural grass. Irwin, try scorer now. Boxall sets up for the box kick just outside his own 22. Tangutu knew it was coming and claimed it well. Was impeded, I think, in the air. Good commitment there from Panaya Tangutu.
Really well done. And, you know, you've just heard the Royal Air Force head coach speak about not exiting properly. And they work themselves across the pitch, 6 phases, don't go anywhere, kick the ball, give away another penalty.
There's always a certain amount of play by numbers from certain areas, and the RAF haven't found those numbers yet.
No, but again, it's the accuracy, although you know, that's just been compounded by the Army. They kicked it dead. I think there's both coaches, well, we've heard from Tom saying accuracy. I think that the Army would probably say no matter what they're winning 21-8, that there's many opportunities that their inaccuracies or unforced errors have caused the game to be a little bit tighter than it needs to be. It's up to the RAF now to take advantage of some of those opportunities and put some more pressure on them.
The extra runner is provided by Richardson, another member of the 23s, a local as well, of course. He was at Hartbury College and Gloucester under-20s. Nice little play here from the RAF. Callum Clode sets up position. They need quick ball. They've got huge width to the right. Morris not taking it at the moment. The drive from Zach Taylor, another former Gloucester under-20. Sure he'll have plenty of local mates in. Turnover is there though for the Army. No way out for Davison. Oh, Josh McNally was waiting for Nyala to put his fingers on that. Timed it well, but great strength from the Army number 8.
They used to be teammates at London Irish, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, back in the day. Good take from Richardson. 2 men in front of him, so invites his captain to have a go. He doesn't want to go out to this right-hand side. He's going to be Norman No-Mates if he does that. Does well. Boxall. There's nobody back home sweeping for the Army, but just weighs it up and gives it to the impressive bulk of Alex Hayton. Harry Challoner stepping in, of course, for Dave Manning now that Manning's a proper coach, as it were. McDonald squirms his way through, but again the ball goes loose. This time an RAF hand was in the wrong place, and it's going to give the chance for the Army to clear their lines.
Yeah, that's disappointing for the RAF. It was a really good attack, get to the outside, get in the 22, and then just errors around breakdown. There was one where the attacker went in, got put over the top of the ruck, made a ball was off the ground. They turned over from the Army, and again, just careless feet and ruck and breakdown means the Army put pressure, and their defence has got them up here, about to go into the RAF half. And it's just those little errors in attack and look after the ball, treasure the ball, that mean the RAF are on the back foot.
Last 5 minutes of this first half, and the RAF will be looking to get some sort of score on the board just to reset the match barometer perhaps, and likewise of course the Army looking just to embellish that lead. Johnson out to Kelly, and the little pop pass to Tangutu. Tangutu drives for the line, steps inside his man. Prescott's not going to be able to hold him up, and there is a big psychological score for the British Army.
Yeah, lovely, and from set piece as well, not that open sort of return play or broken play. How important, we spoke earlier about Jack Johnson's decision making. Sees that shooter in the midfield, gets the ball outside of him nice and early, and then go to Frank Kelly. Again, he's giving the Army go forward, he's giving the Army distribution, he's giving the Army surety and defence. Lovely little ball to his centre partner, and then George has got the footwork and the strength this time to get through Kieran Prescott and dealt down.
That's an object lesson in playing and executing skills in the face of defence, and what is right in their faces. That little soft pass to the outside centre to make that gap was exquisite. That'd be worthy of any game.
Well, such is the feel good in Johnson's head that he's retaken the kicking duties, and no doubt will slide this one through on the angle.
It's the best medicine out there.
Of course it is. Oh, saying that, curse of the commentator, and it's squint, but never mind. Yeah, I'll take the one. I'll take the fall for that one. Sorry, JJ.
But again, that's first phase try. That's 2 now. And again, the RAF would be disappointed. First phase try didn't make them work a little bit harder for that. But yeah, you got to take a hat off. They were taken well. It's crucial now the RAF don't concede or territory and then lead to points. Now it's really crucial in terms of the game. If they can get some points, great. But let's get back into the half-time, regroup and then see what we can do coming out of the second half.
Yeah, you think back 12 months and it was, 24-10 at the turnaround then. Ended up 38-31, so a real fight back then from the light blues. The last 2.5 minutes of this first half, from this position, they need to get something on the board just to confirm, I guess, that they're back in this game.
Well, you can see straight away with Shane's intention to try and take a mark off the kickoff, which you can't do anymore. And then Mikey McDonald's whacking it into the shed. The Army are happy to just slow this down now, ride out 3 minutes and go in with an 18-point lead.
Yeah.
No need to do anything silly here and just play in the right areas.
I could see the shock on Shane's face from here.
Crash Ball Charlie is Callum Clove. This time last year he was strength and conditioning coach for the RAF. Been playing some rugby up at Newport Salop. So back in rugby mode. That man hasn't stopped. Josh McNally went back over the bridge last night to see his Cardiff team beat the Stormers to secure their quarter-final berth in the URC. Williams spots a gap behind.
Got a penalty there.
Bounce not working, and they will come back for that penalty call.
This is a big decision here. Do you take the points and get something, or do you go for the corner and back your drive? We've scored from a line up 5 metres out. So it's a big decision. The brains trust are in it.
RAF call?
Yeah, I got a feeling they'll go for points, but then I'm wrong. That's why I'm up here talking to you. It's interesting Josh is there, because Josh probably would be the main decision maker there and knows now exactly what lineup they're going to call.
McNally, of course, has been captain in Cardiff quite a bit this season, so the decision making is more, it comes easier perhaps to him this year than it has done previously.
Yeah, and you see a lot of people do it in that 5 shirt. So important to make those correct calls at line out. We saw it in Twickenham 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
So important to get it right in the corner.
Well, it's not the 5 shirt that's taken, it's the 4 shirt, but it is still RAF line out driving maul into the last minute of this first half, but you sense a very big play in this match. Army doing really well to hold things up. Ball back for Boxall. Now it's out Williams with a little kick pass. Freddie Richardson is waiting, and Richardson is going to score. Well, that's just what the Light Blues needed before the turnaround. A big, big 5 points for Freddie Richardson and the RAF.
Just how the coach drew it up. I think you find it, you have to give credit to the Army. Stop the drive at source. They actually were pushing that maul back. But the composure of the RAF there, to hold on to the ball, not panic. Previous iterations probably would have tried too hard to try and batter the front door down. But a little offload from the short angle to Williams at 10. And a beautiful kick. Still a lot of work to do to finish the try off, but they were always chasing to get that. So again, that's a belief giver, just as half-time strikes.
Yes, that'll galvanise the confidence a bit. Even more so if the skipper can slide this one through for the extras. Job done from Mark Williams, and that 7 points just changes the feel of this match, a match in which the first quarter was very much nip and tuck, with the RAF getting 8-7 in front, but then 3 tries for the Army. Ironically, inside a yellow card for Matt Dawson, put them in charge. But Richardson pushing back for the Light Blues. Half time, it is the Army leading 26 points to 15. Well, we will have for the women's game that took place earlier on today. But before that, of course, the Royal Navy men were dramatically crowned back-to-back champions at Twickenham 2 weeks ago. Senior service beating the Army 36-41 in a thrilling game, another thrilling game in London, to claim that inter-services crown for 2 years in a row. The first time they've done that since 1974, can you believe? Well, earlier on this week, Kath Brazier caught up with their inspirational leader, Royal Marine Captain Jared Hayler. A few days after the match, not so far from here, of course, at Hartbridge training ground.
I think, to be completely honest, no. It hasn't sunk in at all.
The clock's in the red, but this match is going blue. The Royal Navy have got back-to-back inter-services championships for the first time since 1974.
I think what an incredible group that we had this year, and genuinely we look back at the last few years and we thought the opportunity is now. We look at a lot of the stuff that Grant Ashton-Jones does for us, and actually the momentum swing is in the Navy's favour. We've got such experience, such talented individuals, and it's all sort of come in at the right time. So we're in a really good place. We've got the back-to-back, but I still don't think I quite believe it yet. Yeah, we had an end-of-season awards night in Lensbury, which was brilliant. We then all dressed up as animals and celebrated our result, going down to Cardiff and having a few beers. So that was good fun.
Just finally, I know that Navy involvement isn't in the in-service anymore, but are you still interested for the game at Gloucester? Will you still have an eye on that?
I think it's such a great advertisement for military rugby. The RAF have come a long way, and the Army are always entertaining to watch, so it's going to be a brilliant game. Having it at Kingsholm, so close to home now for me, which I'm leaving in a few weeks,
yes.
It's also great. I'll definitely be keeping an eye out on it. And also next thing is building towards inter-services next year, and then we're looking at that Defence World Cup as well.
Well, we may well be at the half-time of the men's, but of course earlier we saw a very convincing win for the Army in their whatever it is, inter-services title. Si Hunter, you were on commentary, another Army triumph, but well-deserved, obviously.
Absolutely well-deserved, just to say, Kath, and one of these games there was so much hype for, I think, coming into it as well. An RAF side looking very strong on paper too, and with last year, the defeat to the Army in this fixture last year, we knew they were going to be gunning for revenge. And 19-12 really quite far into the second half, maybe around 55 minutes, but then the Army pulled away, and my word, the tries they scored, India King back-to-back very quickly, and then Komatai, Lauren Brooks, the power coming through midfield, what a performance, yeah, really good.
You said that one of the moments of the match, because it could have gone either way, was the very nearly try from Lucy Nye, stopped by Courtney Pursglove. Now, Courtney said 5 years ago she probably wouldn't have stopped Lucy Nye, but, and that's nothing, there's no chagrin against Lucy, but that could have turned the match for the RAF's way.
Yeah, I think it could have. I think, as you say, that moment, that interception, we wondered if she had the pace to make the line, because Courtney Pursglove was coming after absolutely Jay Ash from the other wing as well. So it was one of those moments that, would have levelled the score. Would that have made the difference in the game? We don't know, of course, but certainly the momentum you felt after that point in time was probably swinging a little bit, certainly towards the Army. And then from there, they managed to maintain that sort of lead, maintain the pressure as well, exert a lot of control in the RAF 22. And from there, it was a very impressive performance again.
Well, the presentation's going to take place behind us. You're going to talk us through that side.
Absolutely, yeah.
They're just gathering there behind us, but I mean,
in the rain.
It wasn't predictable an Army win, but when you see them play like that, and like you said, that second half, you do understand why they are that class above.
Yeah, you really do. And I think what's interesting is when you were talking to their head coach, Sarah Mitchelson, in the middle of the game, that attention to detail is so clear, and when she's talking about the things that she really wants to sharpen up and the things she wants to tighten, she's always super focused on that stuff. There's never a moment, it seems, when she's just going, yeah, we're doing everything we wanted to do there. And I think in the middle of that game, that just reflects to me just how focused this team is. And it's almost like rinse and repeat every year that we're saying this about the Army's presentation at Kingsholm, winning the inter-services back-to-back again. It's so impressive. And that mindset as well, Jade Mullen, Sarah Batley, Heidi Silcox, that on-pitch leadership team is just so great. Really
well,
good.
Listen, I'm going to leave you, Si, to talk us through the presentation of the Women's Inter-Services 2026.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, as we can see here, I mean, all the players gathered out in their shirts, which is quite remarkable. Of course, the rain pouring down. It was forecast, but we are seeing some jubilant scenes from the Army women on the backs of some of the teammates. Sophie Benevent there, who was player of the match today, a brilliant ball carrier and always one of the favoured options, I think, for her side, receiving a bottle of champagne there, richly deserved too. I don't know if she's going to open it and make everyone even wetter than they were before, but that's certainly lovely to see. I think what's always nice is, of course, seeing the camaraderie there, how cohesive they are as a team, the unit. Courtney Pursglove now going up in the shoulders as well. Becky Wilson off to the side as well. We said she's the second best Nordic skier in the Army. That's quite the accolade too. And their chief exec, Kim Folk, coming out of the straight out of view there. But no, it's lovely to see. It's really great to see just how much this team has developed over the years as well. And no matter the amount of success that they're getting year on year, they're always looking to improve. They're pushing the bar. They're trying to find new ways of bringing some of these other players in. I think some of that depth is really impressive to see as well. The likes of Jay Ash, who scored a hat-trick at Allianz Stadium, Twickenham against the Navy. We're just seeing, of course, the RAF women coming through as well. What a team they are. I think that scoreline, I mean, incredibly comprehensive performance from the Army. However, you could say the scoreline didn't quite reflect how well the RAF played in this match. They scored the first try of the game. They then scored the third try after the Army responded with a try of their own. So certainly at the beginning of the match, you thought, wow, they're taking it to the Army making maybe some uncharacteristic mistakes. Yeah, what a team they are too. They always talk about that light blues family, and we're seeing there Kim Grundy now come up to get her award. I guess they were unlucky in a way. I mean, Sarah Bonner's not quite back from fitness yet, return to fitness yet, I should say. Tyler Lewis there, you can see coming through now to collect her medal. She's injured for the game, and a really important player she's been.
Do you think, because the RAF obviously wanted to go out from the beginning, and do you think it was a matter? It's not fitness that I'm thinking about, but like the strength and depth, and what I talked to Huddy about is the Army, and that's why they were so strong in the second half. The RAF probably don't maybe have that same strength and depth, basically. The RAF don't.
Yeah, it's a really good point, I think, Kath. And it was said on commentary earlier on that at that 60-minute mark onwards, the Army were able to pull away, and that's a mark of the old New Zealand sides, if you like, which was quite interesting.
That's a compliment.
Yeah, it's a compliment and a half. Yeah, but you saw those performances back in the day when teams would be able to be level with the All Blacks, and then they pulled away. And this Army side showing, that it's deserving all the accolades it's getting. And Sarah Mitchelson, what a phenomenal accolade for her to be back-to-back winners. And yeah, it's a remarkable team, and they're so humble as well, which is lovely to see. Gracious in defeat were the RAF today. Fair play to them too. At the end of the game, all smiles, handshakes, embracing each other. It's great now that they're coming through to get their winners' medals, which is incredibly special for them. Air Chief Marshal Sir Harv Smith presenting them as well, and yeah, I'm sure he'd dearly love as well for his RAF women to be coming through with these winners' medals. But no, it's a great moment. And I know that they've had certain players, Amy Reynolds there coming through, as you've just seen. She's been flown back from Estonia from deployment to play this match. There are other players at Fern Scobie who played at Allianz Stadium Twickenham who've gone on deployment. So, it shows how much it means to them, and it shows how much it means to Chain of Command, who, fair play to them, are getting these players released for these games. And yeah, it's just wonderful. These are great scenes to watch, Kath.
And just to explain to us again why Benevent was, because the Army defence was just incredible in that second half, and that's why she was given player of the match there.
100%. Yeah, that defence was key to their success, and the RAF had chances that they weren't able to convert thanks to that success, as you allude to. But also in attack, Kath, Sophie Benevent we've seen how dangerous she is, not only with ball in hand trying to punch away through the middle of that light blues defence, but also in broken play. My word, she's got a bit of turn of speed, really. As we're seeing here, the Army women, Jade Mullen, this is the moment they're waiting for. Sarah Batley as well, experienced campaigner, up with Jade Mullen. Captain Fantastic, as they call her, ready for the trophy lift, ready to take this to their players. They're getting ready. I think they're trying to start improvised drum roll a little early here. But smiles all round for Mullen and for Batley. And all their players behind them, beckoning them to come right back, to hold this trophy aloft, to do what they've done so many times in the past before as well. And we're just seconds away from seeing those scenes now. Here they come, Batley and Mullen, right to their players. Victors 2026, the British Army women, and what a fantastic performance to wrap it all up today. What a special day. Holding that trophy aloft, Sarah Batley as well, not only for beating the RAF today, but winning the Inter-Service Championships, a championships that's fought ever more keenly year on year. And these players dancing around and absolutely loving it. Well, these scenes are probably going to last well into the evening and the night here in Gloucester. They've had to wait a little while. Our match finished quite a bit earlier with an 11 o'clock kick-off today, UK time. But my word, it's all been worth it as the shirts get soaked, and I'm sure even more so with the champagne later on, as all the players take it in turns to lift these trophies. And I tell you what a performance from the Army. Can the Army men do the same? Well, we're looking forward to an amazing second half in the second of today's double-header matches. It's back up to the commentary team led by Simon Ward. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back very, very shortly indeed.
Welcome back to Kingsholm as we get set for the second half. Before we move on, though, to this final 40 minutes of this year's Inter-Services Rugby, I'm just going to point the finger at the man who's also going to be doing his final 40 minutes of Inter-Services Rugby, because John Knighton, after thousands of years working for BFBS, is actually going to be retiring. Now, is this a rumour or is this true?
It's true.
Definitely?
Definitely.
We're not going to call you Frank Sinatra and see you back here, are we?
Well, you never know, do you? You know.
Well, I'm going to say personally a big thank you to John for not only what he's done in rugby, because I've seen everything he's done, but your multi-skilling, you and your team, is just incredible. The output that you put in across Forces Sport is just second to none, and they are very, very lucky to have the team, and they are going to miss you. Are you going to miss us? Please lie.
Of course I am. Who wouldn't? I mean, for the last 25 years doing this job and 40 years with BFBS, it's been more like a hobby being paid to do it, to be honest. I've absolutely loved it. And I absolutely love working with you guys. And most of all, I just love working with the military, because our forces are the very best of us. And actually, if we brought some joy and we brought some success and happiness to someone maybe who's stagging on duty today, it's made their day to see this game here and see the crowd here at Gloucester, then as far as I'm concerned, it's job done. But it's been an absolute joy, and of course I'm going to miss everybody. Hopefully I'll be back occasionally just to sort of, you know, watch from the stands, or maybe you'll even have me back to do the odd bit of social media now and again.
Yeah, social services will need you, but I'm being presumptuous, but on behalf of everybody linked with BFBS, with Services Sport, and me personally, big thanks to you, John Knighton. We are going to miss you, despite what we might say later at the bar, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, back to second half action as the rugger is ready to restart. Just looking to see if there's any half-time changes from either camp. I can't see any, although Matt Blee is going to take the restart, which may tell something a bit more about Jack Johnson's right thigh. Here we go, that last minute score from Freddie Richardson for the Light Blues. How much difference is that going to make to their psyche now? The first 10 minutes, as ever, going to be so important. Zach Taylor can't get out of his 22. Advantage call is there, and Boxall goes quickly. Boxall is one of these dynamo scrum halves, a bit like McDonald on the other side. He can spark so many things from almost unexpected places. McNally. Williams gets the pull back to Callum Clode. Experienced operator despite having not had many inter-services opportunities. Boxall to Jack O'Regan. Flight Lieutenant O'Regan from Bryce Norton, just up the road, passed it on the way here this morning. Boxall doesn't get clean ball, and the Army working hard to hold the flow back, and the ball is gone loose, and Veretti is there. Veretti bundles Taylor out the way. First half try scorer, along with his second row colleague Sean Beaver. And here's another one, but has also lost the ball. Now the rain is beginning to have an impact, it would appear, on handling. Prescott.
It's not the first time we've seen Frank Kelly and Josh McNally in a battle, is it? That midfield, Josh playing a little bit wider, two big guys going at it, and Frank just manages to get the ball off him there.
Well, I wondered with team selection whether we'd seen McNally back in the 6 shirt, which is where he played last year, wasn't he, at Northampton in the Navy game, and I wondered whether he would play a bit wider, but not to be this time.
Yeah, I think the thinking was then against Northampton is that he'd take the scrums, would give him fresh legs if he's in the back row, and maybe more impacts around the park. I think we need him in the scrums, to be honest, for what's happening here.
Well, the impact is such that, just as I said, they were making some headway into opposition territory. Harry Challoner unable to keep the ball. And now light blue concentration goes back into gear to set up the defensive line as the Army look to work their way out. Beaver sets it back. There's some tired legs already out there in the first 3 minutes of this second half. Interesting to see how the benches play into the swing of this match. Richardson out to Prescott. Prescott steps and feeds, and now his opportunity. Clode.
What a great tackle from Matt Blee.
Oh, but Frank Kelly then loses the ball, but the ball's gone forward. First up in the centres, Kelly and his opposite number, O'Regan, getting into it on this near side. There's an imbalance in the height, but not in determination and fire in the belly. Clode is down in back play. Everything settles down now, but you can see, I've just seen Naolo and Josh McNally play fighting.
Yeah.
Because as you remember, they are old teammates. But that was pulling of the jersey was as far as it got.
I'm not sure I want to be in that play fight, I'll be honest. I don't actually know what happened there, what sparked that. But what I do know is that the RF started the half with, they got the receipt the kick-off and played multiple phases, slowly worked their way up the pitch into the Army half, and then knocked the ball on and just forced the defender well to force the Army to kick. They found some space, but you have to say that was a hell of a tackle by Blee there in the full-back space, because it looked like he'd found the edge and got some space and was going to take him on.
He's done everything you need. Don't get too square, give them one option only, and then change your body height and blow, and just go, and just get your shoulders in, get your head in the spokes, and he's done a great job. And as you say, the ball's getting a bit slippy, he's knocked it on. I don't know what the referee's going to go back to here, whether he penalises someone for some handbags, but if not, Matt Blee's done a great job there of going back to an Army scrum. Well, yeah, it looks like maybe a double yellow, one either way for Frank Kelly and for
Boxall, was it?
It's Sam Boxall who did the classic scrum half thing of retaliating.
Or is it just replaced?
Or is it O'Regan at 12?
Well, it looks like Claude's day is done. And I think also Craig Irwin is going to be coming off. So two of the starters from the Northampton 15 are on for the RAF. That's going to be Matt Harris and Kieran Jenkins.
So I'm not sure Craig Irwin is coming off because he's just gone back into the line out there. I think it may be Harry Challen that comes off.
Oh, they're going to mix it then?
Yeah. So Harry Challen's coming off. Harry, it's one of many caps for Harry, and he's worked really hard today. I have to say, he's scrummaged his heart out, and it's good to see someone put in the work to get himself into that space.
Been playing his civvy rugby up at DMP up in the northeast. Callum Claude getting back to his feet somewhat groggily, and he is going to be coming off.
I'm not sure what the penalty was for. I'm sure the referee would like to tell us now.
No real indication from Mr. Evans-Jones, but it is a RAF opportunity to get into the opposition 22 for the first time in this second half. You think it's a yellow? Who do you see coming off?
Kelly. We saw Kelly come off and Boxall, so I don't know who's the 9 for the RAF.
No, so I think Boxall's still on. O'Regan has come off at 12. Frank Kelly's come off at 12. I think the scuffle's been a double yellow.
Right,
yeah.
There you go.
Good spotting. CSI Gloucester works very well because you're absolutely right. I can't see Frank Kelly and I can't see O'Regan. So midfield changes for both teams as Josh McNally.
That's a good tackle.
Drives and drives again. Big opportunity for the RAF to start this second half. Well, I say start, we're nearly 5 minutes in, but to get this second half underway with a score. They're up and over, and they have got that try. Just looking to see who's laid flat out on the deck. I think it's Jack Roberts, isn't it? Oh no, it's Zach Harris. Zach Taylor, sorry.
Yeah, Josh was instrumental in a couple of those carries, getting close, but Zach's gone over well. And I have to say, from the RAF point of view, they've received the kick-off, and in 5 minutes they've got to the other end and put a score in. They will obviously believe that this is not. Last year showed they can get close. Maybe this year they can do it, but they've got to now get back into the Army half as soon as they can and not make errors. Josh showed how instrumental he was in terms of leadership there. Everything that was made, he was either doing it or telling it.
Nice kick. Just fades away from the right hand upright though. So 20-26. Looks like Pete Austin's coming off because I can see Todd Johnson coming on, and yeah, Austin just limping off slightly to the left of the team.
How important might that RAF call before half-time be to end up with the try rather than the 3 points? Now only 6 down.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's all about belief and momentum sometimes, isn't it? It's in a game of rugby, especially inter-service rugby.
Ball goes loose and it's in the midst of Veremi Ngorawale. Well, handling, especially on the deck, is going to be very slippery, to say the least, in this weather.
That particular attack from the RAF out of the 22, there's no need to reach around someone's back with a wet ball and dislodge it that way. They'd done the hard work. They'd found a corner. They put the Army under real scramble pressure. All you had to do there was just play tight rugby there, recycle, let's go again. You were on the driving foot there, and they're the little things, especially when now he's a scrum down on their 22 with a real a blind side to attack from, or an open side.
I would expect this to be a real threat from the Army here.
Dawson at number 8 releases the handbrake. So difficult to stop Dawson. The ball is out, and there is the slide through from the man called T. It's tea time for the Army. Tangutu once again on the scoreboard.
This is exactly what we chatted about at half-time off the microphone. The Army just get in behind, it's quick ball, it's go forward, it's a disrupted RAF defence, and then Mikey McDonald is just picking the right player, putting ball into space. And you know, when you've got someone like T, who's got half a spot in front of him and 10 metres to go to the try line, you're going to end up conceding those points. So that's the story of the first half, and it looks like there's no change here. Get in behind, play to space.
Yeah, and it was disappointing again. It's a first phase attack, a number 8 pickup. We didn't get hold of him. He made great yards, took loads of players in, and it was just from one breakdown, pass, try, and that has to be better. To win this game, the RAF have to defend better than that and put some pressure on those ball carriers off the back of the scrum.
Interesting to see Matt Dawson go to 8 though. I mean, he's played inter-service rugby 6, 7, 8, but here he is, you know, just showing that versatility that he's got. Looks like maybe they've decided that Shane adds a bit more weight in that second row to sort of counteract where Josh is going behind the tight head. So maybe there's a bit of that going on.
Good call, very good call.
I think he looked a little bit sharper off the back than Shane as well. I can say it from up here.
I've got a feeling he's also played at 12 from memory. He's played in the midfield as well, but Army not thinking about putting him out into those sort of areas in the absence of Kelly. Vasaturanga gets his team away from the 22. McDonald. Good take from Taylor. Been playing his Civvy Rugby at National 2 East out there with the Henley Hawks. Not that far from here, I guess. Oh, pass not nice from Boxall, especially not in this weather. An unexpected possession. Dawson and Johnson combining. The call comes from Ngorawale. There's another man with flexibility. Played winger and back row for London Scottish this season.
And scored with the 6 shirt on his back, I think. Or
really?
At least went 40 yards and gave someone a little walk in. He's doing everything.
Former farmer in Fiji doing this stuff on the rugby pitch in the UK. Johnson again with that kick pass. Again, oh, I was just about to say what a good take from Vola. The breakdown provides the ball for the RAF anyway. Just wonder whether the targets are going to have to be reined in a bit with this wet ball now. Williams, oh, there was a hand from Dawson. Well, was that considered intentional because Dawson's already seen yellow?
It will be interesting to see what the ref comes back for.
I'm not sure the ref saw it. I think if he had seen it, there would be a worry there, but I'm not sure he's seen it. It's whether the touch judges are feeding it in, because it's definitely not where he says it is right now.
Sharp intake of breath from Mr. Dawson.
I don't think he's seen it. That's if it was. I mean, I saw a hand in. Was it deliberate? Yeah.
Well, I think the area probably helped the
yeah.
miscreant on that occasion. Had it been 20, 30 yards down that way, then there would have been no question. And that would have been a tough final half hour for the Army. Kieran Jenkins is coming on. Nyang is coming on. Looks like Shane Nyalo's got a problem with his right thigh.
What a guy to bring on, right? Sevens pedigree, great set of skills, great defender, great open play, runner of the ball. Surprised actually not to see him start this week in a very different style of game versus the Twickenham fixture. But yeah, what a great guy to bring on with half an hour left.
It's Kieran Forbes, there he is wearing 23, who's into the RAF ranks. Ash Horner lining up in front of me as well. Roberts with a little dummy inside pop, not taken by anybody in the opposition, but the ball still there for the RAF. Boxall having to really dig that out and take it quickly. Good tackle coming in just to slow things down, but the RAF into the 22. All congregating pretty much around the ball. Advantage call is there, so it's free play for those in blue. Forbes, the missed pass out to Seddon. They look at the short side for Forbes, keeps the ball alive, but the ball not cleanly taken by Jenkins.
Might be a card here. Yeah, there you go.
Another card, and this time it's going to come to the double try scorer, Panaya Tangutu.
As the other yellow cards come back on the pitch.
It's a soap opera. Yeah. It's a real
it's a centre cohesion that they don't need to be on at the same time, so they just choose to take a 10-minute breather. But all jokes aside, self-induced pressure. We know pressure and possession means points. The Army doesn't have a massive lead. There's 25 plus minutes left to play. 7 points for the light blue here, and we've got a game on our hands. So the boys will want to just go back to type, play sensibly, and let the RAF make their mistakes.
Hayton provides the ball, the focus, and the Army forwards being pulled out of position. McGregor, Smith, desperately trying to hang on. It falls to floor. Now they get the width on it. O'Regan back in attacking mode. Prescott keeps low. There's huge numbers to the left.
Good defence though.
Good D coming in. I couldn't see who put the tackle in. I think it was Todd Johnson.
Just composure now from the RF. Don't panic. You've done it once before already.
Pick and drive, the order of the day.
What's going to be important is if you pick and drive towards the post as well. Those extra points, if they do go over, will mean a lot.
Certainly.
Can't go isolated though.
Owen looking for a second, of course. I think it was a knock on there.
And there you go.
And the moment's gone, and it is a big moment in the whole of this game.
It is a lack of composure from the RAF there. It didn't need to be panicking that much. You know, just as much as a lack of composure, you have to credit the Army defence on the goal line there. Everyone was putting the body on the line, but some isolated runners from the RAF when actually all you need to do is take your time, get a mate with you and start just attacking that line.
Well, Ash Horner is into the fray. Let's, while we've got a brief stoppage, let's hear some of your messages. John, who have you got?
Yeah, a few messages coming through. Ian Openshaw says, come on Army. Hi to everyone in 75 RE today. Andy Wilson, go Reds. And a lot of messages coming in Fijian, which I'm afraid I can't understand. But a little message I must like to mention is Lee Soper, Captain Cornwall. He's watching the game with his two sons this afternoon and say how much he had the pleasure of working with me out in Japan back in 2019 with the UCAF Army team out there at the Forces World Cup. And I would just like to say one of the great honours of my career was presenting the players with their jerseys when they took on the French in the semi-final. That was a huge honour. So Lee, great to hear from you this afternoon. Thanks very much, Steve, for that. That will be one of my lasting memories.
Well, I'm sure Lee Soper kept you very secure, being the big man that he is. That's his job now, isn't it? Isn't he security? I'm sure.
Some would say he always was.
Yeah, for a number of the Army players.
You know what I mean? That's a good man.
Right. So it's going to be an Army put-in, but big pressure on their 8. And as you said, it was a great call actually to see Nyalo moving up into the engine room, but of course he's not there now. So how does the pressure come through on Messrs Dawson and co?
And with Ash Horner coming on, first thing to do.
Well, he gets the call.
And he does a good job of it. Yeah, it looks like Dougie McGregor-Smith's done his job at Loosehead as well. And you know, what a way to defend what was quite a busy period there, and the Army now with a chance to clear their lines.
Yeah, the RAF front row were just overextended there. When the pressure came on, they just went, their feet went from them.
And again, playing on plastic, it's a different type of opportunity when it's a wet surface like this. Studs don't always catch like they do and set up the tension that you need.
Sometimes you wear different studs, you know, and
sure.
That's the thing. So, yeah. Oh, good work.
Bouncing ball for Roberts to cope with, along with Frank Kelly on his back. The wiser voices in the RAF ranks now got to make themselves heard if they're going to just push themselves back into this game. O'Regan out to Prescott, earning his 8th inter-services cap. Kieran Prescott scored the second try against the Army last year, so very much a strike force that the RAF will try and use. Big pass over to Jacob Seddon, another one who got himself on the scoreboard last year. Morris. And the Army's defence working really well here, just stepping up a couple of metres each time.
Just got to get some go forward, the RF. Everything's going side to side here. There we go. Now you can play off it.
Well, I mentioned him, Prescott has just sidled his way into the red zone. Roberts, a little more obviously perhaps, but keeping the ball in control. Yeah. Or has he?
It's just that lack of composure. They're trying to up the tempo, they're trying to play fast, but picking and going on your own around the side of a ruck is an easy tackle for someone who's waiting for you.
They've actually done a good job of creating space. The Army are focusing in on that ruck, both in sort of where they are in terms of bodies, but also their eyes from the midfield. Everyone's looking in, and actually the RAF are in a good position to go and play numbers up on either side. But like you say, they just take one too many, not with enough support, getting a little bit greedy perhaps, a little bit excited, big eyes, and I'm not sure who came up with a turnover there. Maybe Sean Beaver does a great job of getting on the ball and pinching it again for the Army.
Yeah, it was either Beaver or Korinivuku Veretti, who doesn't look 100% fit at the moment. I think he's struggling a bit, but of course they've kind of used most of their forwards. There's another one coming on now, Callum Buchanan into the front row. Good stint from Douglas McGregor-Smith. Safe take at the front. Pass that Nyangi, did really well to pick up there. Drew Davison. The counter ruck from McNally. He knows just when to time it, but the referee's not happy with it.
He did. I think technically he went round the side of the ruck there.
Well, I was going to say it was the angle that did him in the end.
He has been in the mix though, hasn't he, Josh? He's got off the line, questionable couple of offsides that I think he's got away with, but he's been real trouble for the Army, certainly in those slower rucks.
And it's the street now, isn't it, that makes the difference.
It's
he plays every weekend at such a level.
You do it every day, week in, week out. You know when to do it and you know how to do it. And with someone with such a brain, such experience and such a frame, it becomes pretty effective.
Yeah, even the little things. 2 line-outs ago, the RAF got up and competed. If you watch that line-out again, Josh is telling the RAF guys where he thinks it's going to go and what's going to happen. And you could see a couple of the Army lads looking and say, well, and those little bits of street now add up.
Into the final quarter of this match with a 2-score difference. But the way this game has played out, you just get the feeling a flick of a switch could change things here. Good call from Davison. Been on loan at DMP. I think he's still with Caddy. Oh, little Rocco feeds the ball out, but what a vital interception that was. Rockamothe on into the back line for the Army. Yeah, you can see Harry Davis there, it was, who I think made that interception. Now on at scrum half for the RAF. Here he is, man from the Mumbles. Oh, Jenkins just, I'm sorry, it was Kieran Forbes, it was one of the Kierans. Just unable to hold the ball on. Mikey McDonald is down. Looks like there's a cramp issue going on for the Army scrum half. And this, as you mentioned earlier on, Will, the halfback scenario, they've got halfback cover, but not what you would call scrum half cover, maybe.
Yeah, well, Al Glixton, who of course we've seen feature into services, has had his appendix out, I think.
Week before the
3 weeks ago. That really doesn't help. There's a couple of other scrum halves sort of floating around Army development and that have come up a year ago from the under-23s, but like you say, no one's picked a out-and-outright scrum half today for that number 21 shirt. You know, so if Mikey can't make 80, we might see Blee or Jesse Ribeiro come on and have to sort of play Jenga and see who we can make work in that halfback slot.
Play Jenga, is that a tactical term?
No.
Well, McDonald fit and able to continue for now.
You got a fan club down there.
Well, we're getting a lot of noise from the Gunners over here in the shed. They want a shout out. They had a big win last night for the Army Masters. Lots of Gunners in that lineup enjoying themselves today in the shed.
I'm surprised they're still awake. After what no doubt happened last night after the match.
Well, yeah, you make your own assumptions, but I will not divulge.
Yeah, I'm not sure they've been to bed yet.
There's lots of hotel bookings for no reason.
With no names. John, over to you.
Very quick one, a couple of messages from Fiji, the Nyagi family watching back home in Fiji and Australia. Let's go Army. Anita Broadhead, shout out to my brother, veterans Richard and Bob Broadhead, accompanied by Tom Strickland and Tom Broadhead. Let's go Army. And the Austin family is here. Wear a big red number 2. And come on Army, says Kenny Sappleton as well. Shout out to Faye Harrison, the lead physio on the RAF team.
Chance here for Little Rocco, but as he went to go straight through his man, he lost the ball in contact. So the moment passes.
So the wet ball is definitely, and the wet ground is definitely having an effect. It's having an effect at scrum time because people are struggling to hold their feet. And the wet ball, probably the last 4 attacks have all ended because of not being able to catch the ball. So it's just that little bit of focus on the wet ball where you can't keep playing what you started off playing. You've got to really take care of the pass and the catch.
Yeah, Veretti down once again. I'm just looking to see, I haven't seen Dylan Morris, has he? He would be, yeah, he's down here, so he would be the like for like, but he's not getting warmed up in any sense of the word at the moment, so presumably Veretti able to carry on.
But I think we've just seen a change at 12 maybe.
Well, Frank Kelly's there at 10, so Jack Morris has moved out.
Ganucci is on in the head guard at number 22.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, defending in slightly different positions. Presumably Frank Kelly, nice big sure set of shoulders, is going to go at the number 8 if he comes off the base here. Allow Jack Johnson a bit more space to defend a bit wider.
Just looking to see, I'm guessing that it's Tangutu, who I cannot see.
Presumably he just didn't come back on after his yellow card.
On the park, so yeah, I'm guessing that was a Tim Osman call. We shall hear from the Army main man in just a moment. Let's get this scrum out of the way first to see whether his team can make something happen. 5 metres out from the RAF line, Harry Davis with the feed. Seddon.
He's done well there.
Big
But
man,
go forward.
big, strong, powerful winger making the dent. But his team's still inside their own 22, so Davis forced to kick. Let's get into the Army ranks. I think Kath Brazier is talking to Tim Osman.
Well, Tim Osman, we're up here in the box. It's going to be another tight affair, isn't it?
Always, isn't it? It's not good for the nerves, is it? No, it's a good game. I think two different styles. They've come out clearly, may have had a rocket or some such at half time and played with a lot more tempo, which has been hard to contain. That said, our D by and large has been pretty good. I think we scored some unbelievable tries in the first half, some really good flair in the width. But just as ever, age-old bit of discipline letting us down to give them a bit of field position and get back into it. But yeah, it's the boys are working unbelievably hard. It's tough. It's pretty attritional. A few yellow cards in the mix as well. So yeah, some way to go yet.
Well, less than a quarter now, but you've always got the strength and depth, haven't you, in that Army side? So you'll be pulling on all of those for this last 20.
Yeah, I said to the boys at half time, the guys on the bench who were, whether they started or not, it's irrelevant. They'll finish the game and they'll make a big impact on it. So they've got just as much contribution to make to winning the game than the guys who started the game. So yeah, we're fortunate in that regard, and it's competitive. So yeah, hopefully we can still hold out and go again a few more tries too.
Thank you, Tim Osman.
Cheers.
So Kath enjoying life in the dry. Tim Osman enjoying life on the pitch so far. And as the clock is obviously on the Army side, he'll be happy while the game is being played in the middle third of Kingsholm right now. Josh McNally hanging out on the right wing, but opting not to take the ball for the 60-metre stretch.
So they bring it to him.
Williams slaloms through a couple. A ball, foot coming through. I think it was an RAF foot. Referee therefore says play on, and Mikey McDonald sent it behind Kieran Prescott and back towards his own line, just going over. Yeah. So, Prescott picks and goes. Kelly was aware. Prescott's got to be careful here. He's going to get isolated.
How good is that from Frank Kelly?
Yeah.
Work rate off the ball. Kieran Prescott is a quick man, especially off the mark, but I think maybe Frank's wingspan there has lent him a bit of favour, but to pull him down 6 yards out and give the RAF another 90 metres to go and have to play against. Yeah, how good from Frank Kelly was that?
The Army have got no scrum half, so there is no sweeper in there. Davis kicks it out though. McDonald seems to be struggling with a certain amount of cramp in one of his calves.
I think Williams, the RF captain, struggling as well. He's down and back play, stretching his legs off.
We can see some red shirt substitutions coming on, so maybe we're going to see that rotation at half back. Looks like Matt
Blee's going to step up.
Matt Blee stays
to fly
on.
Half.
Yeah, Jack Johnson rests. Mikey McDonald stays on, fights through his cramp. And Jesse goes to 15, off to fullback.
So Josh McNally comes off. Just a word on what an outstanding performance he's done. Both of what he's actually physically done, but what he's brought to the team and to the occasion. He's a true warrior for the RAF there, and played an exceptional game.
Yeah, then the word talisman is used too freely, but I think Josh McNally is an RAF talisman, no question.
And no doubt a huge boost in camp, in the week, in the lead up, giving that sort of security to the boys and that real clarity in their set piece work, and no doubt that sort of edge of professionalism will be a huge boost for them in coming into this fixture.
So, someone who's at that level and that ability and that record, if he's on the pitch with you, you grow an extra inch and you run an extra 10%. It just makes a difference.
Right, just looking to see. Jack Roberts is coming off here. Will Llewellyn is off, so Jack Hayward-Thompson and Dan Gilbert, those two. But here we go.
So I think that Harry Chandler might come back on.
Well, at the moment, that's Dylan Martin.
Yeah.
Would he play hooker?
Don't know what's going on here.
Oh,
two have come off and one's gone onwards. My public maths is not great, but that's
I saw Jack Hayward-Thompson wearing 20 is out there to replace Will Llewellyn in the back row. That's fine, and as we mentioned, Dan Gilbert on for McNally. So I haven't seen Josh Peacock come on though, so
a lot of discussion with the sort of fourth official management down on the side, wondering perhaps the legitimacy of bringing a front row forward back on. Is it a safety issue? Is it a tactical swap? But as you say, 2 off, 1 on.
Coming into the last 10 minutes of this contest. Ribeiro hanging out wide. Now they swoop to the left, putting numbers out, but McDonald's going to keep going right, and the front row is just getting themselves muddled up there. So quick ball here for the RAF, and who knows what's possible. Oh, there is Roberts. So I beg pardon, that wasn't Jack Roberts that came off.
I don't know what's going on, but the scrum should sort it out, because
For a cold, wet day, there's an awful lot of cramp.
there's a lot of running going on, isn't there?
So where's Dylan Martin gone? There he is. So right, so the front row then for the RAF is still Craig Irwin, Jack Roberts and Dylan Martin.
Yep.
Oh, now what's going on here? The referees.
So Craig Irwin's coming off and Harry Chandler's coming back on.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Yeah, that
John, what's going on here?
What's going on? Well, I'll tell you. Jamie Doig's watching. Good afternoon, Jamie. Watching from the
Jamie
Tigers
Doig.
team hotel in Manchester ahead of their game with Sale Sharks tomorrow. Ant Turner,
Walk in.
go Army. A few messages as well. Thank you very much, Pete Taylor. Very lovely words there. And he says, I'm sure that Barrel Steve Worrell will be watching down on this game as well today, because it's been a cracking match. Big shout out as well from Anna Cooper. Shout out to the RAF Coopers. And just a quick one. Stu Smith, 79, he says it looks like Exeter's ground. No, we're here at Kingsholm.
Honest.
Definitely.
It's as windy as Sandy Park, but
absolutely. And I just noticed as well, we've got, unfortunately, down at the bottom, Ryan Crowley there, who would love to have been playing here for the RAF today. He picked up an injury at Northampton 4 weeks ago and still not fit enough to play. But Ryan's down there helping the team out.
right, so all the replacement front rows are on for the RAF now. That's confirmed. But right now it's in the backs that they've got problems as the loose ball's picked up. Dawson, a show and a go. His head's over the 22, the ball not quite. McDonald tries to keep things moving. Beaver tries score in the first half. Kelly out to Unganiothi. Kelly again, keeping the ball alive. Ribeiro. Oh, just too difficult for Nyangi to hold on to. They would go back for an earlier penalty call. Gents, I don't know who you've got in the frame for your player of the match. Let's have a couple each. John?
Well, for me, it has to come from the red side of the game so far, and bizarrely, both of them being yellow carded. But
so they've only played 70 minutes.
But I think Dawson has shown what a great player he is, and I have to say, I think Kelly has grown into this game, has been influential in everything that good that the Army's done.
And you, Will?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think Frank Kelly's done it all. He's lived on the gain line, he's lived out the back and distributed. He's defended really, really well. But like you say, he's got a yellow card, so he might have to make a decision on whether that vetoes it or not. But when you look at people who haven't had a yellow card, we're running out of ideas. Three of them, I think.
I have to say, I think Kelly has made the difference as a conduit for so much that's come down the Army back line, and the improvement is noticeable in that Army midfield from Twickenham.
Especially as Jack Johnson's carrying a bit of an injury.
Yeah, exactly. Well. He's had to fill in a few places. So we'll wait a couple of minutes as the Army look to rumble their way over. Not quite. Head first, driving for the line. Dawson is there. Dawson gets a try on the board for the Army, and with 5 minutes to go, surely that is done now, you would think.
Yeah, that's just, and I was just thinking before this, the inter-service games for me sometimes are just about playing in the right areas. I'm no great scientist there, because that's the same in any game, but specifically inter-service time, because if you The RAF held out and held out and held out, but they're in the wrong area. When a penalty is given away, line out drive, and you're always susceptible to a score like that, taken well by the Army. Probably the RAF would rue a few of the running out the ball from the try line and inviting territory pressure on themselves. But the Army have taken advantage of that and punched themselves into the lead.
Well, we've got the fourth different kicker for the Army. That's Jesse Ribeiro. He's got a big boot on him. I saw it at Grange Road in Cambridge, one of their earlier warm-up games.
Bright boots.
Doesn't find the target though. Well, as presiding judge of the jury, if you're in agreement, I'm going to call player of the match Frank Kelly. Yeah, you happy with that?
Absolutely.
No arguments.
Right.
I think the key moments of class in the game, he's been heavily involved in it.
Captain Frank Kelly, the Army number 12, gets our vote for player of the match, albeit he's only played 70 minutes. Mind you, I gave it to Bubba Watson. He only played 50. So.
But I will mention for Josh.
Yeah, I agree.
And again, what he's done, as I keep saying, not just physically, and I'm not just a member of the Josh fan club, not just what he's done physically, but how he's lifted the team and what he's done around the team. The team have played a lot better than they did against the Navy, and that's a big change, reason for me.
Yeah, totally in agreement with that.
I'm not sure what happened there.
I'm not entirely sure that should be an RAF line-out.
No.
He was standing off the pitch when he handled it, but how far
one
the ball...
leg on, one leg off.
How far the ball was across the...
Well, so one leg on, one leg off, and he catches the ball. To me, that's an Army throw-in, but hey-ho.
Yeah.
There he is in midfield. That's Conor Morris. Made his debut, 3 years ago in this inter-services, now earning his 7th cap for the RAF. Good transference. O'Regan just trying to pull the defender onto him, but the drift defence worked well there in the Army back line. Challoner. Davis flips back to the right-hand side, but it was a free play.
That's clever by the 9 there. He knew that the Army player was lagging behind there, and he deliberately attacked where he was, forced the referee to call a penalty.
Certainly a deliberate shift in the RAF's exit strategy, chasing the game, playing that edge, trying to just work their way down the field rather than kick it to this back three. So although it's a slippy day and you probably could get some purchase out of kicking well, clearly they've been once bitten, twice shy on kicking loosely to this Army side. So it's working though. They've got the penalty, they're up on the 22, and they're going to launch from their own set piece.
Whatever the score is, the ambition of the RAF to play, as Tom said, the positive rugby, it's evident for all to see. And just for some accuracy earlier on and some physicality, I think they could have made this a lot tighter. It's a great carry there.
Jenkins coming on, a very acute line off the feed from the replacement hooker Peacock. There's another replacement, this time Dan Gilbert. Peacock again scored the second try up at Franklin's Gardens. Williams almost went without the ball there.
They'll move it. They want to move it.
They've got huge numbers out to the left. It needs to go. Ngorawale takes his team up to halfway. He's gone. Can Seddon get him? Good tackle by Seddon. Support there from Nyangi. And that's what the Fijians bring. Making something out of nothing.
How often do we see Imi Korawali down that left-hand side, just ball in one hand, choosing contact because he knows he's so physical. And look at that, 80 metres up the field. Yes, you've given away possession, but guess what, RAF? You've got 18 points to score, and you've got 90 metres of grass in front of you.
And there, right there's the risk-reward of the RAF attack strategy in the wet conditions. If you throw a pass and it doesn't go to hand, turnover ball is what the Army live off.
The take is sound from Hayward Thompson. Davis with a little show and go. Blee can't get him. Throws it, but throws it forward, and the ball is there for Ribeiro. Well, no way Morris was going to get clear there. And I think that is it. Yes, indeed it is. It is the end of the Inter-Services Rugby for 2026. It's the Army, the victors in this one. A real engaging contest, as all of the games have been. But the Army making hay at the end of the first half of those 3 tries from Beaver, Veretti and Tangutu. Tangutu added a second after half-time. And when Dawson went over for the final score with 5 minutes left, the game was done. It has been a very entertaining contest. What would be your take, John, on that final game?
Yeah, look, entertaining definitely. I think look, both teams have improved since they played the Navy. They both worked on certain things. I think again, some self-inflicted issues from both teams there, but the strongest team, who just were more clinical, 3 first phase tries from memory, were the Army. The RAF, I think, played some really good stuff, but and actually scored a couple of good tries, but they just used a lot of energy trying to get through around the Army, rather than sometimes just dipping your head and getting a dent into the line and get some go forward. And I think that in the end the Army found that easier to get go forward, and in essence that's the game for me.
So learnings there from both camps, particularly from the Army. That was a much improved performance from Twickenham.
Yeah, and it's the Army rugby we want to see, right? Too physical, too fast, in behind, quick ball, score, and then do it again, and then do it again. And I think for me, amazing that the boys have gone and won. Obviously soured a little bit by not winning the Inter-Service Trophy. But it's like we can play plan A and it goes to plan against the Royal Air Force. We cannot play plan B against the Royal Navy, and for 2 years we haven't had plan B. And I think this is an excellent example of the rugby we want to be playing. We've got to be more adaptable when we play against the Royal Navy, because they have that tight 5, they have that contest at the set piece. They don't give us the go forward as much as we can generate out against the light blue defence. Maybe there's a little bit of plan B to be found.
And if I can ask both of you to open the other eye, what do you make of the Inter-Services tournament as a whole?
I think it's been one of the best for a while. Three games that were top, going each way. You look at, I remember Twickenham when the Army were coming back and coming back and coming back and coming back. That was a great game. This has gone ebbs and flows. There's no one-sided games. I would say the Navy did teach the RAF the value of a set piece, but look what they've done here. So I think there's it's a really good tournament, and I think the one dominant unit throughout all 3 teams was the Navy front 5, and that probably was the reason they won.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a huge advocate for last night's game. The Masters came out and played against the Vultures here in 7 o'clock last night. Really, really good over 35s rugby, 8-5 at half-time, a real physical battle, people trying to go through each other. And, the Army are able to come away with a big win yesterday evening, but that's only because the depth and the strength in the bench made that impact. And we've seen it exactly here today. Bustling up front, little bit of toing and froing at first half, but then the Army's bench making the difference, and that size and that pace letting them run away with it.
So it's been an Army trio this weekend. Let's speak to the Army number 12, our Babcock player of the match, Captain Frank Kelly.
Well, here I am with victorious Army captain Pete Austin and player of the match Frank Kelly. I think the same lineup we had 2 years ago, was it, Frank?
Yeah, it's about right. Well, at least today we won.
Pete, you must be so proud. A better score than last year as well. It wasn't quite as tight, but I'm sure it felt it on the pitch.
Yeah, the RAF, they're always a very aggressive team. That first 40-50 minutes is a real battle, and then we managed to have a bit of Fijian flair on the edge. So we come away with a good win.
Frank, how does it feel again? I mean, the camaraderie, we talk about it every year, but being here at Gloucester, it's really nice that this, and even though the in-services trophy's gone, you guys still get to finish the tournament.
Yeah, I've been away a bit this year with work, so it's quite special coming back in. I didn't realise how much I missed it with the boys and seeing those old faces. You forget how special the Army is sometimes with our Fijian cohort, and it felt good this year to be back.
Is it hard to come from a loss at Twickenham, such a close loss as well, to come here and pick yourselves up again?
Not really. I mean, the two sides, I think I prefer playing Navy, but I mean, it just means the world to be the RAF.
Okay. And Pete, again, you know, victorious again in this one, but I imagine you're still going to hang on for another Army inter-services win at some point.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to finish at some point with 2 wins, haven't we? No, it'd be really nice if I can get back again next year, and for a lot of the lads, to be fair, but there's a lot of new lads that have come through the system this year who have just, they've set this place on fire. Everyone's seen it. You know, Taggy in the middle there and some boys on in the scrum, just, yeah, it's brilliant.
And the crowd's getting bigger, even though the rain came, you know, it's getting bigger every year as well.
I think it's the first time it's rained. I think so, yeah. But no, the crowd's brilliant. It's always lovely to have people around us screaming. Either which team they even support, it's just like they're here, aren't they? It's brilliant.
Pete and Frank, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Well, from two of the old faces, according to Frank Kelly in the Army, I think we've got an even older face who's been in contact, John Knighton.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a message for Apo Satala, a real star from the past in the British Army. Just wanted to congratulate the Army on the victory today, and also to the RAF on their performance, and also for the Royal Navy, of course, for winning the Inter-Services Championship. Mustn't forget that. They did the job at Twickenham and also at Northampton as well. A few other messages as well. Darren Curtis says, cracking game, and loads of support, obviously, for all the players today who've given their all in a really tremendous game of rugby. And in fact, I think it's been a fantastic Inter-Services Championship all over.
Yeah, totally agree. And as the neutral, as Civvy boy coming from the street to watch it, I agree totally with what you two gents have just said. The standard is going up. The bar has been lifted. And once again, as a sporting entertainment, it's wonderful to see. And it has now got 3 more very enjoyable pages in the book that is the Inter-Services Championship. May it go on and upwards.
Yeah, and how good to see almost 8,000 people come to watch today, you know, and the crowd turning out this morning as well for the women. You know, we saw them lift the trophy at half-time. Great to see that game. Young girls in the crowd aspiring to be the next round of service women's rugby players and inter-service champions. So growth across all 3 is absolutely fantastic to see. So well done across the whole piece.
Yeah, it's been a great tournament and some great rugby. If I can just take a minute just to say personally from the RAF and from myself, a big thank you to John Knighton as well for all he's done.
Yep.
What I would say is this wouldn't happen, the live stream. I almost guarantee wouldn't have happened if John Knighton hadn't come up with the idea or seen the idea and initiated it. So, you know, personally I know from all in the RAF, thank you for all you've done, John. And really,
well, I heard he's up for a knighthood, is that not?
Well, yeah.
Knighthood, John. It's when they get a sword and they put it up.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. I must say as well, just while we're on that, great attendance today here at Kingsholm, 7,858. I know that I think they sold about 7,000 tickets in advance. That must be one of the biggest attendances we've had here for an inter-services game.
And what 2 games to watch.
And it just goes to show the interest that's mounting for the games outside Twickenham, because a bigger crowd than we've had before at Northampton as well. So, you know, let's just keep that interest going. And obviously 50,000 at Twickenham a couple of weeks ago. So interest is building again after, you know, after COVID, because it did drop, didn't it? And now it's back again. And it just goes to show with the quality of the games.
I'm not sure the interest is holding for the presentation. That said, as we wait to see if anybody's going to step forward to actually receive the trophy. But I go on about the history, and there is so much which we all know. But to actually, I won't say improve history, but to add a page that is so significant within the history books is everything to all 3 services.
Yeah, absolutely. The services, no matter, it's almost a bit of a bizarre thing, because it doesn't really matter sometimes what happened before, because each year there's a new chapter in terms of each team. There's new players, there's old players leaving, there's people on operations and whatever. So each year it's almost a a new chapter, but you are conscious that you're standing on the shoulders of those who went before you. And as I say, I think this year the standard of all three games in the men and women's game have gone higher and higher. And the 7,800 people who turned up there, irrespective of the weather, have been royally entertained.
And I know it hurts from an Army perspective that you haven't got the inter-services, but from a neutral perspective, it's great to have
We're not happy either, by the way.
Well, I was just about to say, when did you win? 2018?
Yeah.
Was the last inter-services for the RAF. If it can mix and mingle a bit, it adds to the contest.
It does, and I think it forces the teams to develop and to grow, and it sort of carves out that any space for complacency. You know, the boys certainly now in the red shirts will know that it's not a foregone conclusion like perhaps previously it might have been, and you cannot go into any inter-service fixture across any of the three
There's no
types
given
with a prerequisite, you know, a preconditioned result. And you know, like today, yes, it's 38-20, but a couple of decisions, a couple of drop balls or not, we could have a much closer contest, and the wooden spoon could have gone, you know, the other way.
Yeah. Just as the inter-services could have gone elsewhere. You know, there was the RAF and Army had chances to beat the Navy. They had, you know, big line breaks they could have executed better, and that could have changed the course of the championship.
So we are about to set up the presentation. So the presentation party, Air Chief Marshal Sahab Smith, KCB OBE President of the RAF Rugby Union. There's Major General John Swift, OBE the Assistant Chief of the General Staff and ARU Vice President. And Mr. Tom Morton's down there, Managing Director of UK Aviation at Babcock. So the officials, Tom Evans-Jones leading the official party. Had a good game, I thought. It kind of flowed. I mean, there's always things that both teams pick up on, but generally speaking, it was a good game to watch, in part due to the referee.
Yeah, and I think given that we're not really sat here discussing any of his decisions, is broadly a very positive review of any man or woman in the middle. You know, always a little bit up for discussion, and no doubt the boys will have one or two breakdowns in their mind. Maybe Matt Dawson will feel a little bit begrudged, very much like Drew Davidson's yellow card at Twickenham 2 weeks ago. He felt very sort of unhappy with that call. But yeah, like we say, we're not discussing his calls, so he must have done a pretty good job.
Frank Kelly gets the Babcock Player of the Match award. The RAF will step forward to receive their mementos.
I think someone's got to tell them. Oh, there we go.
When I nod my head.
And they've got a lot. Okay, they lost both inter-service games, but these guys have got a lot to be proud of as a young team. I think Tom was telling me before the Navy game, the average age was 25 or below. That's probably gone up a bit with Josh being in the team this week, but you know, there's a lot that can be. You know, there's a lot that can be taken as positives from this, and I'm a great believer in inter-service experience is invaluable, and you need to go through it a few times before you really understand what it's about.
And the fact that the under-23s won the inter-services for the first time in 19 years, I think, that bodes well for the Light Blues.
Yeah, there's a pool coming through. Some under-23s from that team are in this team here, and again, they're being competitive. And you know, if buts and whens, you know, could have taken a game, sneaked one of the games, but you didn't. You get nothing. You get given nothing into the service rugby. You've got to go and take it and earn for it. So, you know, there's a lot to be proud of there from the Light Blues.
They are a very different looking team over the last couple of years. You know, slightly different coaching setup, a couple of different characters, young
different
boys
style
coming in.
of play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think tactically and skillfully, they are there and thereabouts in a competitive sense for the inter-services. I think they just sadly lack the ability to choose big physical guys that they cannot get the platform from, you know, much like the Navy. Very, very southwest heavy boys, you know, giving that go forward, and then of course some Pacific punch in the Army. So they've got to play with what they've got, but they're doing everything right tactically and skillfully.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think part of their development is that, you know, at the moment, their game plan, they have to be 100% accurate in everything they do. and that's a real big ask on any rugby team. When you bring in that physicality, then you can forgive some errors, but when every time you got the ball, you've got to make it count. It's a pressure in itself.
So as the Army boys step through to receive their medals, last man up, of course, is the skip, Captain Bombardier Pete Austin, earning his 32nd inter-services cap. Quite remarkable endurance, especially for a front rower. So there is the Babcock Trophy for this contest. Go on, Pete, they're waiting for you. And the celebrations ensue. Well, that concludes a fantastic inter-services rugby tournament for 2026. The senior service celebrating, I'm sure they've just about got over hangovers by now, but deservedly winning it back to back for the first time since 1974. So the Army takes second, the RAF third, but the services as a competition takes top spot, top billing. Thank you to John Wilding, thank you to Will Reeves for your company this afternoon and through games, and in particular thanks to Mr. John Knighton, who can now go down and lie down and not come back.
And thanks to you as well, Simon. Thank you very much indeed. What a great day, and another fantastic day for military sport. Victory for the Army, but I'll tell you what, the Army, the RAF and the Royal Navy will be back next year. It'll be just as competitive as ever in 2027.
Well, we look forward to you watching it and getting through to us on the social networks. Thank you to all of you, wherever you've been watching this broadcast from, for all your comments and your notes. We hope you have a great weekend. From me, Simon Ward, it's a very good night and have a good weekend.